one felt like it was supposed to be under it. I saw that they were supposed to go together just like that. So I don't know what that card is, but that was meant to come out like that. Just gonna look at it. So my question was pertaining to the last reading we saw for Whose Story Is This? I was asking about what's going to happen to the thief brother. Because for some reason that's been like coming up since the moment we saw the alignment at the end being brought up about his needed ego death. So yeah, I felt like there was a part two to the last one, the last Whose Story Is This, titled Civil War. And this is specifically geared towards what's going to happen to the thief. So right off the bat, I'm going to start here. The upside down Hierophant is indicating that the theme of everything we're seeing here for this character is that he's going to be dropping programmed instructions. I'm hearing instructions that have been sent to his hardware, his download, basically. There's something about him potentially being like wired this way is what I'm hearing, like wired in the ways that have kept him continuously falling back to zero, because he's trying to operate in a world that requires him to use more of his heart space, and he's not wired that way here. He's not naturally wired with, I'm hearing, the strength of the heart, and he's very, very mental and very, very adept technically, which is a great attribute to have, but there's a needed chemistry needing to be brought into his environment by this woman that he's passionate about, the Queen of Wands here, how she lights up his passions rather than his intellect. But he is actually, I'm hearing, I want to say sexually aroused by her, but it has to do with his intellect. So he is activated by her sexually and intellectually, but there's also something about him that is being drawn into his heart space about her too, and she's actually activating his truest strengths with her strengths and her essence. She's actually activating him into I'm hearing new world order, basically like reframing his entire world. And there seems to be a bit of like a karmic pattern that these two are playing out between them, because the Wheel of Fortune has not been able to move on between them. The cord has not been able to be cut between them yet, because they haven't integrated their lessons yet. There is a big piece about her karmic patterns and transcending of them correctly, depending on his death of his ego first. Because in order for her to ascend correctly, to turn her own karmic wheel up, where she moves beyond her wheel of dropping back to zero, actually depends on her, I'm hearing her knight. That's interesting, because we're not seeing a knight here in terms other than like right here. Actually, yeah. I'm seeing a knight. I'm actually seeing her knight's ego death like is kind of required for her to come first because her ascension depends on his death. Her ego death depends on his first ego death. So there is like a rectifying power I see of their union where it like corrects all scales that are standing imbalanced at the moment and everything is able to move forward together then, because in order for her to move forward, he has to move forward with his own patterns of self-sabotage. I'm hearing a neglect of himself and how that shows out in his own career world and how that shows out in his own familial expectations. He's having to like his ego death is about letting go of his cultural, familial, and professional expectations, even maybe perhaps religious expectations that have been programmed into him in order to like sustain an equilibrium. But it's actually the more that he engages with this woman, he keeps seeing how he's been off balance and how his 10 of Pentacles keeps hitting a ceiling. Like I'm seeing that the ceiling of the 10 of Pentacles reversed is like what has been continuously happening with him till this point, is where he builds his empire, and then it hits a ceiling because he hasn't yet integrated with his heart, the thing that makes him passionate and actually alive, actually turns him into a true soul when he activates for his queen. So basically, this is like he turns his whole world upside down for her. When I looked at this being the Six of Swords reversed, immediately it hit me that I'm hearing he reverses everything in her favor. He reverses everything in her favor. Like I'm literally seeing the world upside down right now. And so now I'm being pulled down here. It's like in the world that he's standing in right now, as it stands right side up in his world, his current state of existing, his patterns are of that upright Five of Cups that lead him in the upright Five of Cups. But when he flips his whole world upside down, it's like it turns into the outcome that he's actually released from the grief. I'm not quite exactly sure. Something about everything being stacked against her. I'm hearing he reverses that process, and I'm hearing it reverses the aging process. I'm hearing the time set against her. Time set against her. So he actually like turns into a knight in the process of him. I'm hearing reversing the aging process. It's like he returns to his old self as a knight. So it like goes back in time by reversing the whole scene around her and him and everything that's keeping them separated. He like reverses the whole scene, and it actually like pulls him back to a time in which he was more. I'm hearing it returns his wings to him. Returns his wings to him. And now I'm seeing her like being a Pegasus horse. And so like all of a sudden his white horse has wings. That's his wings that he's missing. And so as he like reverses, I don't know what that is about the aging process, but I just keep hearing as he reverses the aging process, the whole world corrects itself and she becomes his horse. The wings that he's been missing, he can't have them without her, and that's what he's been not so clear on till now. A truth that he's been avoiding. So the less that he actually spends time in his head as the King of Swords, the less stagnation he experiences of his own walls that he's putting in front of himself. And this is going to require strength, but the Ten of Pentacles will no longer be hitting a ceiling. And it will break his entire world down, but that's a good thing, to flip his whole world upside down in this case. It brings him out of grief. It brings him out of stagnation. It brings in the Lovers and the Star card, but rectified. The path to the healing of the Lovers that he doesn't see as possible right now. It's funny because we see that the Two of Wands guy is like following, aligned with the path of walking the path of better judgment. Judgments that he's been contemplating but holding back on till now, but like feeling deeply intuitive about the path ahead for himself that is like the death, the ego death that actually turns everything into a collapsed kingdom to then build upon. I feel like I just want to get some clarifying energy around, like, to better illuminate the outcome of this tower breakdown of the old empire, and say more about that positive ego death that we see coming in for him. Let's see, what are the energies relevant to for him in his future? I'm hearing he's no longer in his head. Oh. And all of a sudden he becomes the magician. Running away from his heartache. So he manifests himself out of his own heartbreak. Let's see what happens next. What does he manifest? What can he manifest? I'm hearing open ocean. Another tower. This whole story here. So he manifests another tower moment, which is that positive tower, that is the breakthrough that puts the wheel of fortune straight up for him. And he's finally able to move forward. I see the eagles here. I see the pharaoh, the sphinx, the sword that he carries. This is all alchemy right here. He actually is able to accomplish the alchemical effect then to his heartbreak that has just continued to put him in this state of anxiety around the fact that his Ten of Cups can never be reached. So he's actually able to come out of that mental prison. One more card about the future. Oh, jeez. That's the character we started with. The good old Seven of Swords looking right at her. Looks like it turns him into the Emperor. Out of the distortion of pain and into his power. When he kills off his own ego for her, it actually turns him into the Emperor. And everything that he's been trying to accomplish as I'm hearing impudent Seven of Swords, finally gets him in the right direction. And he steals the whole show.